Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a fascinating question. What if we had a global minimum wage? How would it transform economies and labor markets around the world? Ready for a deep dive into this topic? Let's get started. Imagine if every worker worldwide was guaranteed a minimum amount of money for their work. Think of it like setting a universal baseline for earnings, no matter if you're working in Tokyo, Lagos, or Buenos Aires. Chapter 2: The Ripple Effects on Economies. Let's start with a positive impact. A global minimum wage could reduce poverty and improve living standards. For instance, in countries with lower wages like India or Bangladesh, many workers currently earn far below what's needed for a decent living. Introducing a global minimum wage could boost their earnings and help them afford better housing, healthcare, and education. In Bangladesh, garment workers often earn very low wages, which has led to protests and calls for better pay. If a global minimum wage were implemented, these workers might see a significant increase in their income, potentially improving their quality of life. Boosting local economies. When people earn more, they spend more. This could help local businesses grow. Imagine a coffee shop in Nairobi or a small bookstore in Manila. With more disposable income, people might spend more at these local businesses, stimulating the local economy. For example, the living wage movement. In places like the United States, cities like Seattle and San Francisco have raised their minimum wages to what's known as a living wage. This has led to increased spending in local shops and services, showing how higher wages can benefit local economies. Chapter 3: The Challenges of Global Minimum Wage. Economic disparities. Different countries have different costs of living, so a global minimum wage might not be practical for everyone. For example, a minimum wage that's reasonable in a high-cost country like Switzerland might be too high for a lower-cost country like Myanmar. The impact on small businesses. In a high-wage country like Australia, businesses might cope better with a global minimum wage. But in countries with lower wages, like some parts of Africa, businesses might struggle to meet the new wage requirements, potentially leading to job losses or reduced hiring. Impact on jobs. Businesses in lower-cost countries might find it challenging to pay the new global minimum wage. This could lead to job losses or even companies moving their operations to countries with lower labor costs. For example, the case of Apple's supplier. Apple has faced criticism for labor practices in its supplier factories in countries like China. If a global minimum wage were introduced, it could pressure companies to improve wages and conditions, but it might also lead some companies to relocate their production to countries with lower costs. Global trade shifts. A global minimum wage might make products from high-wage countries more expensive. For instance, if wages rise significantly in the United States, the cost of American-made goods might increase, making them less competitive compared to cheaper goods from other countries. Example: trade imbalances. In the past, trade policies and tariffs have caused shifts in global trade. A global minimum wage could have a similar effect, altering trade balances and affecting which countries are competitive in various markets. The long-term impact. Improved global standards. Over time, a global minimum wage could lead to improved labor standards worldwide. Countries might be encouraged to enhance working conditions and pay, leading to a more equitable global workforce. For example, the International Labour Organization, or ILO, works towards fair labor practices globally. A global minimum wage could align with these efforts, pushing for better standards and conditions for workers worldwide. Economic growth. More disposable income could drive global economic growth. With more money to spend, people might boost demand for goods and services, driving innovation and business expansion. Take, for instance, the economic growth in emerging markets like Brazil and South Africa. These countries have shown how increasing wages can lead to economic growth. If more people worldwide had higher wages, it could further stimulate global economic activity. Policy and regulation. Governments would need to adapt to these changes. This might involve creating new policies to balance the effects of a global minimum wage on local economies and industries. For example, the minimum wage policies in the European Union. EU countries have different minimum wage levels and policies. A global minimum wage would require international cooperation and adjustments to existing regulations, much like the diverse approaches within the EU. The takeaway. So what if we had a global minimum wage? It could reduce poverty and boost living standards, but it also comes with challenges like economic imbalances and potential job losses. Real-life examples show us both the potential benefits and the hurdles of such a major change. What do you think about a global minimum wage? Could it lead to a fairer world, or would it create new issues? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more thought-provoking content.